Hey, Scott.
Hey, Dan.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, man, all good. It was an interesting start to the morning. Because we're lazy and because it was here when we moved in, we have a automatic sprinkler system,
Mm-hmm.
and, and we know nothing about it. Like, we didn't program it. We had somebody program it for us. We didn't have it installed and everything. Well, one of the pipes burst, so we woke up this morning to just. Fortunately, it wasn't horrible, but we woke up this morning like, good morning, wake up, and then just water all over one quarter of the yard. We're like, how do we fix this? How do we turn this off? What do we do with it? So we just shut down that part of the water system. So it wasn't a big deal, but it's like, that's not exactly how you want to start your day.
No, no, but at least it was outside, right? It
Yeah,
wasn't in the
exactly.
house. That's a good
So,
thing.
and it also did remind us to try and remember how to actually find the shut-off valve for the entire house, so that
Right.
way if we ever have a problem, then we know what to do.
Right, right. Better better something like that than something more disastrous to, try to figure out how your house works. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, we woke up to a snow day.
I
They
heard about that.
yeah, it's like they shut down the schools out near, here just because the snow was out here. But they do that because they've built so many snow days into the year already that they're just, any any inkling of any ice or snow or anything, they're just going to shut down the school. So
Yeah, they just kill it.
we're used to that. And plus one of our kids is sick, so there's, she would have missed anyways. So
Yeah.
just the way it is. All right. So we're just going to start off talking about offers, I guess.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And whatever else it gets into, and let's see what, if anyone else, pipes up and does that, actually gives us something else to talk about. All right. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and broadcast. Just want to make sure I have my stuff in order here. Okay. All right. Thanks for doing it again. This is cool.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to sync this thing up.
I'm going to take the next couple weeks and try to plan out the first 3 months of, Q1 of 2020 and try to figure out some dates, and we'll send them your way and see what we can do.
Cool. Yeah, I'm traveling a little bit in January, but not too much.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. All right. So let me go ahead and hit broadcast. Here we go. Hello, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get us live on Facebook as well. Not that one. That one. Now we should be live to the world on Facebook, and anyone joining us on Zoom. Let's see if there's anyone joining us on Zoom. No participants yet. That's okay. Let's see. What else? Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Scott.
Hey, Dan.
Welcome, and so glad that you're able to do this again. And as we lead up into the holiday, I'm sure it's a busy time, so glad that we're able to fit in at least a half hour or so to talk membership.
Yeah, I always enjoy it, so I'm glad we could sneak it in as well.
Yeah. And it says preparing for the live. I'm not sure. I see it. Okay. Not now. There we go. Okay. All right. So let's talk membership offers. Why not talk about offers, especially this time of year? We've been getting through Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and all the stuff that's leading up to the holiday season and the big, Christmas push. You see a ton of offers out there. Buy one, get ones, percentages off. And, have you found anything that really works for membership that's kind of across the board, really works well?
I don't think that I have found an offer that works across the board really well. I think some of it depends on industry. I think it depends on trade versus individual membership. But I think that, and one of the things that I have always found, or I find lacking from time to time, and I think we actually talked about this a little bit last time, is just urgency, right? It's limited offers. It's not just, hey, you can get this and fill it out whenever you want. You can come in whenever you want. You can renew whenever you want. It needs, if you're going to present an offer, it needs to have some sort of a deadline to it. It needs to have an urgency attached to it, or else it's not really an offer. It's just, hey, just kind of figure it out whenever you guys want, do whatever. And I think that it's interesting, and you mentioned this whole, it's Black Friday, it's small shop Saturday, it's Cyber Monday, and then I think there was a green something day, and it's just these days just keep on coming. And part of the reason they keep on coming, I think, is because it gives for-profits mostly, and you and I can talk a little bit about why nonprofits aren't doing this. It gives for-profits the opportunity to continually create urgency, right? We have different offers, hopefully, that would have different offers on all those days. It's not just the same offer over and over again on the same offer on Black Friday as you get on small whatever they call it, small shop Saturday, Cyber Monday, everything else. There are different offers, but it allows you to create that urgency that you need to do it today or else this offer is going to go away.
Right.
So I know I didn't answer your question directly because I don't think there really is one size fits all when it comes to offers. I have some things that I prefer, and we can talk about that as well. But I think we need to start with that. There needs to be urgency, right? There needs to be a deadline. It can't just be an ongoing offer that lasts 365 days a year.
Yeah, exactly. And I completely agree. And I figured that there wasn't like one, offer that's going to, take care of it for most any association. It really depends on their audience. It depends on, like you said, the type of offers. I think what you're kind of getting at also makes me think, and the way that I approach it also is that when are you going to have your best offer? What's the best offer during the year? And you hear a lot of that around this year, is that this is the best offer of the year. You get it now on Black Friday, or you're just gonna, you're never going to get a better offer. And so there's, you kind of have to plan that out at the beginning of the year. Or what part of your marketing plan is to think, okay, when do we get the best response, or maybe what offer gets the best response, and when are you going to roll that out? Is it twice a year or just once?
Yeah, and I think that's real important. And some of that is going to depend on, and we have not talked about calendar year versus, ongoing rolling renewal type thing, anniversary renewal. And I think that from a recruitment perspective can have a big impact because it depending on what your bylaws may say, some other things. I've worked with associations and worked at associations where you either had one or the other, right? Your membership starts whenever it starts, but truly the membership year is like January 1 to December 31, or July 1 to the end of June if you tend to be more on an academic type schedule, or if you can do it every month. And then that's going to impact what you can offer, because you can't, if you're not prorating and doing things like that, if you are on a calendar year basis or on a 12-month schedule where you can only really become a member, a full 12-month member at certain times of the year, you can't offer a lot of things, right? You get limited in that way. So back to your comment about strategy and planning, you have to know those things, because oftentimes what I have found works if you are, let's just say January 1 to December 31, and that is your membership term, and either you do or you don't prorate. There's pros and cons to both. It's hard to offer. You need to figure that out, right? What's your offer? Your offer can be 18 months for the price of 12. Your offer can be 15 months for the price of 12. You can go in if you want to continually recruit. If you don't want to sort of stop for a period of time, you could have a 9-month membership. But all of those things have to be planned out, and they have to be thought out as to what the impact is on your response, impact on your cash flow, impact on your benefits, impact on your renewal series. All of those things need to be thought out in advance. So that's important to know your association, know your industry, so that you know what people are expecting.
Yeah, and the way I completely agree, especially with the the calendar year versus anniversary. Yeah, it's all very dependent on your organization's structure and the model that you have set up, especially with the membership cycle. And I've always liked the 15 months or 18 months for the price of 12, especially with those calendar year type of offers. That then you can go out there and say, hey, join now in October, for that January through December membership, and we'll give you October, November, and December, completely free leading up to the new year. That type of thing. Really, I think it seems to work pretty well, especially if you push it well and make sure that you have it in all the channels. making sure that everyone's pretty aware of that offer. I always like that. I think also, and I like what you're saying about how it figures into everything that's going on, the renewal cycle, the, onboarding and all the other things that kind of factor into, your dues revenue. A lot of times I've worked with organizations where the accountants, the finance folks are saying, okay, what we want you to do in the last quarter of the fiscal year is to really push hard on recruitment, because that will set us up well and front load for the next year. I think we talked about that last time. And, that there's, it doesn't mean that it's a good time to promote, but it also doesn't, it does figure into the overall health of the membership program.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's sort of to tie this a tiny bit back together with the Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, everything else. I find it interesting, and I don't know if you've done any testing. I have not, because there's part of me that says, okay, stay away from that time as a recruitment period. Mm-hmm. Right? And then, but there's also a part of me that says, people are looking to buy at that period of time, right? We're all in that mode where it's okay. We're getting a zillion offers. We all are, every for-profit entity in the world is hitting you and hitting you and hitting you again. I mean, it's so funny how they do it. And I guess it's smart. I hope that they've tested it. I hope that we would test it to see what is really effective. Yeah. But they're not just sending us emails the day before saying it's the Black Friday sale, and then sending us an email midday Black Friday saying these offers are ending. And then at the end of Black Friday, then sending us another email that says, okay, you still got an hour left. They're doing it for a reason. They don't want to turn us off. So I would think that the risk of losing you as a potential customer is higher than the need to just keep bombarding people with email offers. But then I'm sure you saw this too, the next day, yes, it was Small Business Saturday, but for the non-small businesses, you were then getting offers, surprise, surprise. We've now extended Black Friday into Saturday. We've now extended Black Friday into Sunday. Right. So that's a whole other conversation that we can have about how you create that urgency and how you continue to create that urgency basically off of the same offer, right?
Right.
But, where I was originally going with this was you don't hear, at least I did not see, and I have not tested it, a lot of special recruitment offers, whatever that means, right? For associations to bring in membership during that time of the year. Happy holidays, support your industry. Happy holidays, become a member and support your career. Happy holidays, whatever, whatever that thing might be. You don't seem to see it. And it makes me wonder, are associations testing it? Or are they guessing that people aren't interested because they're doing their holiday shopping? I mean, I'm sure you've had conversations. I've had conversations where it's like, oh, we need to stay away from that time of year. Well, have you tested that? Or you're just saying, our inboxes are jammed full of stuff, and our mailboxes, if we ever buy anything from a catalog, I happen to live with someone who purchases quite a bit of stuff online. So we joke about the number of catalogs that we get, and now our entire mailbox is just filled with not the old Sears ones, that are this big, but these little ones that are this big, and the entire mailbox is filled with that. So, direct mail is obviously working as well.
Sure.
But what are associations doing? You don't see much of it. Is it because of the internal resources to not do it, or is it because of smart marketing? That I don't know.
Right. Well, and there's a lot going on out there around Black Friday and leading up to it, and through that point into the end of the year. So trying to get through your message to get through with everyone else's, or make sure that it gets opened before it gets below the fold on your inbox, or that it's a lot of competition for the attention of folks out there right now. So I can understand associations not wanting to wade into that, especially because it could get expensive too. This time of year might be a little bit higher rates for certain advertising, or if you do social advertising, maybe the clicks are a little bit more expensive. All those things kind of get into the mix. And, it used to be Giving Tuesday, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving used to be Giving Tuesday. Now it's Travel Tuesday as well. I'm not sure, I think they're taking away from, the whole giving idea of Thanksgiving.
That's news to me. I've never even heard of Travel Tuesday.
Really? Yeah, no, it's been in the headlines a lot these days that, now Cyber Monday and then Travel Tuesday, that's the time that you're going to get some great rates for, setting up travel for the new year. And so hopefully it didn't take too much away, but, a lot of these nonprofit associations have that, foundation arm or the charitable arm that really Giving Tuesday is probably their biggest day of the year. And so that, you don't want to take away from that either by trying to push, membership or, other products or, registrations, those type of things. So you really want to focus all your members' awareness and all the, the industry's awareness on that one day just to try to boost the giving at that time. Maybe I could see some of the associations thinking that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we're sort of onto an interesting topic in general, which is are most people doing things, and let's get away from Cyber Monday and Giving Tuesday and everything else, but just are most people promoting or marketing, are most organizations promoting and marketing at certain times because it's popular? Is that the right way to go? Or are you better off? I'm sure you've done this in the past too, that oftentimes you say, we don't want to promote membership, regardless of the whole calendar year versus anniversary versus everything else. We don't want to do a lot in August because August tends to be a very quiet time where everybody goes on vacation, right?
Correct.
Everybody, every single person in the world goes on vacation in August, so we're not going to get any response. I think one of the things we always need to keep in mind when we're doing recruitment or any sort of marketing is not everybody does everything, and you're only looking for a certain number. You do need to prioritize, and you do need to always put your best chance forward as to when you're going to get that highest response.
Right.
But what if you are the one group that gets in front of people in August because nobody else is doing it? Right. Or on a Saturday or on a Sunday. I mean, I think that's the other thing that we all make that assumption that nobody's opening their emails on a Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
Almost all of us are opening our emails on a Saturday and Sunday, or a lot of us are, at least the undisciplined ones like myself who, love work-life balance, but I'm still checking emails on Saturday and Sunday.
Sure. Yeah. And, I completely agree with that. I've mostly worked in education organizations, most of my career. So that was just a given that was our cycle, was September through August was kind of not our fiscal year, but basically, back to school time and, to the end. And yes, August was that time of year that was mostly for vacations, but a lot of teachers and principals and everything are back in the school beginning of August just to prepare for the new school year. So that was kind of prime time for us, even though for maybe other industries it wasn't. It was one of those things where we, it made a lot of sense that we promote in July and August versus, many other industries. And why not? I've always wanted, I haven't done this yet, but I'll probably do it. I've always wanted to do hey, it's, the second week of January, it's Black Friday, and just call it Black Friday and say it's going to be our Black Friday because, we missed out on, last year's, or it was just one of those things where we got, there's too many other things going on. We're going to have it in January instead, Christmas in July or June or whatever, those type of things. I see that happens every so often, and it seems to work, at least to get the attention of folks.
Well, I mean, I think that's a lot of marketing these days. You got to be smart. You got to know what's working and what's not working, but it's really just getting people's attention.
Yeah,
it really is just cutting through. Let's use a little cheesy catchphrase and say it's cutting through the clutter, right? It's how do you jump out and what is something different that you can do, and that's why I realize that direct mail is not the savior of the world and it's not going to work for everybody,
right.
But it does cut through the clutter these days because there's still not a lot of people doing it. It's in some ways it's back in style again, as much as it is, but we all look in our mailboxes, and for those of us who are a certain age, we remember the days where there was a ton of, and I guess, it's funny, I don't even know if it's called this anymore, but there was a ton of junk mail, right? Your whole mailbox was filled with junk mail. It was either junk mail or bills, and that was about it.
Right.
And there doesn't seem to be as much anymore. You still get your credit card solicitations and things like that because they never give up. But
Right.
in my opinion, they're not giving up for a reason, right?
Yeah.
They're doing it because it's working. No company out there, at least none that I know, are out there to lose money. You know, they're
Right.
not out there to just throw money away. They're out there because it's working to a certain extent. And so I think that that's important to consider is how do you really stand out and what
Yeah.
does that look like?
So, and you know, the point I want to make about direct mail, which I agree with you, I think it's still a strong channel that everyone should, you know, still have in the mix and not completely take out of the mix at all. And it's funny, you know, you say those of us of a certain age, and you know, we have 5 generations in the workplace now. So that's the first time ever that there's actually been 5. And for those of us of a certain age or maybe older, they they rely a lot on mail, and they look to mail a lot of times. Well, think about the younger folks. Actually, getting a piece of mail may be strange to them, okay, because they do everything automatically on their credit cards and they have everything online, and you know they've avoided getting mail or having things happen through the mail. So getting something like that, maybe some type of offer or you know, catalog or whatever, it is something that it's like, well, that might get their attention because it doesn't happen so often, you know. So
Yeah.
it's definitely worth testing, and I think it's definitely something that you know, we should look at the different channels to see what does work. And so one of the questions I had for you, you mentioned urgency, and you know, always urgency is, you know, here's the, you know, limited time offer, deadline, you know, this offer expires at this point. Yeah, that always creates urgency. Have you worked with limited number of offers? So like, you know, only the first 20 get this special offer, or the first 100 that respond, you know, by this date are going to get this. You know, have you tried that at all with membership?
I have, but not in quite a while.
Yeah.
Just because what I've found is not that it's not effective, but implementing it can be challenging.
Right.
That how does the association, or if I were to be the one implementing the recruitment campaign, how do I manage that, especially with things online, right? Or because it's membership and it's intangible, right? It's not like you're not, let's just say it's a book, right? If you
Right.
offer a free book to the first 100 people, you're not going to run out of memberships, right? If you offer a free book to the first 100 people and you truly only have 100, then you've got that scarcity issue and you've got a fulfillment side of that. But with membership, you don't really need to, you know, you can say to the first 100 people, get whatever. And if you just are overwhelmed with responses really, really fast,
Right.
then you can give it to 150 people, right?
Right.
It's not, or 150 companies. It's not going to hurt you because you're not printing more books or whatever.
Right.
You know, something that I think can work, back to sort of the core topic here, which is offers. It would be awesome to do. I mean, one of the things that I rarely see, and maybe it's because I'm not that tapped into every association and every industry, is why don't we do flash sales and things like that?
Yeah.
You know, like why not out of the blue, just in May or June, just all of a sudden on social or all of a sudden through an online ad or something like that, say, hey, we've got, just to use my book example as an example, we've got 100 books from best-selling author who you need to read this because it's going to help you with your career.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 100 people who sign up, we're going to ship you a copy.
Right.
You rarely hear that happening from associations. And maybe it's just because it's not that effective, or maybe it's too time consuming to do that. And your response versus the effort you have to put in, your ROI is not that strong. But you don't hear it very often. And
Right.
I find that sort of curious because I think it could work. But there's got to be some, I would hope there's some reason why it's not happening as opposed to it's just not.
Right. Yeah, I've tried those flash sales before, but mostly with product. You know, if I'm trying to sell stuff through our e-store, you know, we have books or something that we're like, you know, we want to try to move some inventory. We throw up a flash sale, and they've been somewhat successful. You know, depends on the product, I think, as well, and you know whether that's something that they desire, or you know, it really you know, if it's a bestseller type of thing. Yeah, you probably get even bigger response from that. And I like the idea of incentivizing them with a book or something to join, something that they wouldn't get normally if they had joined otherwise. And one of the other questions I had, and it kind of goes back to the Black Friday stuff, is that the Black Friday and the holiday season, basically, it happens that people want to get people something that they really want, okay, as a gift, right? So, I wonder if making an offer of like a gift card or gift certificate for membership off, that they could pass along to their relatives or the people that are buying for them and say, hey, I've been wanting to be a member of this organization for a long time. I just haven't had the money, or, here's a great idea because, they're offering a gift card now or a gift certificate for membership at a great offer, maybe a discounted rate or something. I think I tried that way back when, back in the early days, trying to see, especially for the individual membership organizations, that's especially like when I was running a student programs and collegiate students, it's like, hey, pass this along to your parents or some, other relatives. If you truly want to be a member, you just can't afford it, have them buy you one of these gift certificates or buy your membership for you, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think that has worked. I've seen it work in the past, and there's a couple of different angles that I've seen. One, I think it's going to almost always work better in an individual membership organization, right? So you join as a person. But to take the flip side of that real quick, one of the other ways to go about that potentially, and this could work for either side, and I think there was actually a conversation about this on ASA's Collaborate recently, is sponsor a membership, right? Where a industry partner purchases a membership and gifts it to either an individual or a bunch of individuals, or from a trade association perspective, they could gift it to a company and say, I really think that you would value this. So I've seen that work. The other option would be, I could really see this working. I don't want to make it too complicated, and go down the whole rabbit hole of, all right, hey Jane, you work with company ABC. I know you've got 10 colleagues that work there that would benefit from membership as well. So if you get 5 of them to join, then their membership price drops to whatever. Or if you get 10 of them, it drops even more, whatever. So putting that aside for a second, because that's something to consider.
Yeah.
But there is that thought, or there is that opportunity to go to Jane and say, hey Jane, you know what? I know you've got all these colleagues. So would you be interested in giving them as a gift? You value it. Would you be interested in giving it as a gift? So sort of colleague to colleague, as opposed to necessarily, and we could go down the whole other route, which I think is actually a little bit more charitable giving type thing, but like grandma to grandchild, or, parent to college age adult or college student, or whatever that may be, where then, you could definitely do it that way. I think there's a lot of options that can work. You just need to, back to what the very first thing that we said, you need to understand your audience and know what's going to work. Because one of the concerns, besides the complication that exists with running that type of program, the other concern I have is, does the giftee, the person who receives it, end up renewing? Right. And then also, who do you send that renewal to? When I was at National Geographic, because it was more or less, even though it was membership, it was still more or less a subscription to National Geographic. We did a lot of gift programs, and it would be, we'd send it to somebody and say, hey, give this to your, I didn't actually work on National Geographic Kids, but you could see how this would work with National Geographic Kids. Right. You would actually send it to the grandparent and say, hey, give this to your grandkid.
Right.
And your grandkid probably may or may not like it, but then who does that renewal go to? Does the renewal go to, obviously it's not going to the kid, but does it go to the grandparent? Does it go to the parent? Who does it go to? Because bottom line is, at the end of the day, you want to keep everybody, right? You want them to be happy, which will make everybody renew, but ultimately you need to get it in the right hands to get the right person to renew. And is the grandparent or is the colleague looking at this as a one-time thing, where after that they're like, I gave it once, I'm not giving this every year, but you still need to get someone to renew.
Yeah, I agree, and you know, it kind of expands the parts in your renewal system. You say,
Yeah.
okay, you want to touch all of those bases, and you know, a lot of times when I've worked with trade associations, you want to touch it, you know, touch base with not only the decision maker, probably president or CEO, but also the CFO, and you know, some of the others that are related to who's going to make the payment, who's going to decide to, you know, cut the check, and yeah, so it kind of expands that, and yeah, you usually go. I would go back to the grandparents in that case. And in fact, you know, I've gotten a gift subscription to Consumer Reports for many years now from a relative, and it's great. And I do receive renewal notices, but I don't do anything with them because I know it's still going to happen probably every year.
Right. Well,
Depend,
it'll be
depending.
interesting to know, you know, give Consumer Reports a call and talk to their consumer marketing person and
Yeah.
say, hey, when do you start sending these to me? Is it after, you know, Aunt Jill stops sending them, you know, stops replying?
Right.
Or are you hitting us both up at the same time? Which, again, strategy, right? You've got to figure out what your best response is going to be. But that's a question because I would say, all right, Dan's getting the free membership or the free, and I guess Consumer Reports may actually even be a membership these days. But
Yeah, right.
you know, Aunt Jill is sending it to him, so we're going to give Aunt Jill 93 renewal notices, and then after that, we're still going to send her a reminder from time to time, but we're actually going to start sending renewal notices to Dan. That doesn't really say, "Hey, Aunt Jill's not buying this for you this year, but do you want to renew your subscription?" There's got to be a strategy. There's got to be a process because it would make both of you a little irritated, I would think, potentially, if you're both getting the renewal notices. And what if you both pay?
Right. Well, then you get a 2-year subscription.
Exactly. Then you get
That's
longer, which is not a bad thing from
that's
Consumer Reports, but it's
right.
not really the best customer service.
And that's usually what we did. You know, when I worked at ASCD, which, you know, again, a lot of members actually think they're subscribers, but they're members. And you know, if we got a double payment in, we just extended the expiration date, so
Yeah.
they just get, you know, they've already paid for it. So and we kind of got into talking about member get a member a little bit there. You know, the whole referral or word of mouth type of strategy. You know, and I know there's certain offers that show up with that, or that, you know, if there's certain campaign, you know, a certain length of the campaign provides some urgency there. And I tell you, over my career, I have yet to find a member get a member campaign that really works, really works well.
I'm right with you on that. I think that it's something that, and I think it would be interesting to really go back in and look at it again because, you know, it sounds kind of funny that you and I are going, well, back in the day, you know, but back in the day, it used to be something that everybody thought about, right? Like you would truly have like a 1 month long campaign or a 6 month
Right.
long campaign or a 12-month long campaign, and you'd
Absolutely.
track referrals and you would promote it all throughout whatever that term of the
Hmm.
contest, for lack of a better word, is, and you'd announce that so and so has referred 5 new members and everything
Yep.
else like that. And then at the end of the year, they get some sort of special something, whether it
Mhm.
be, and this is a whole other conversation we could have. Do you want a personal incentive or do you want a professional incentive, right?
Right.
What really does that look like? It doesn't seem to happen that much anymore.
No.
I don't hear groups talking about it. I don't really see it. And
And so,
maybe became so complicated and not wasn't delivering the results. So people just stopped.
well, yeah, and that's surprising, especially now that the technology is probably more supportive of that to be able to automate more of it. Because back in the day when we did those campaigns, yeah, it was a lot of manual effort to make, you
Yeah.
know, something like that happen and make sure the proper people got the proper incentives and got the proper recognition, and that's, you know, these days there's no reason why it can't be more automated and have the technology kind of support that and be more immediate about the, you know, incentives or recognition even, when those type of things happen, especially with you know, a whole nother topic of gamification of these type of things, you
Yeah.
know, and how, you know, there's reward systems and point systems, and you know, that's really effective. I know it's really, especially these days with, you know, you look at all the video games and all the things they do now, it should be something we look at even closer for membership.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe we should bring it back. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that
Find a
idea.
client, we can bring it back and see what happens.
Right. Okay. If there's any clients out there that want to explore this with either one of us, that's or both. That's fine.
Yeah.
We could put something together and make it happen. But well, we're at 1 o'clock. Excuse me. I'm trying to get over some allergies here, but if there's I really appreciate you doing this again, Scott. It's something that I think the more that we talk, the more we explore other topics. We started with offers and we ended up with member get a member and, gift certificates. I don't know how that happened, but that's
you never know where it's going to go.
It's true. It's true. And this is good because, there's so much to talk about when it comes to membership. It's a fascinating field. And I think it's something that we, just by discussing it, hopefully is valuable to others in learning about it. So really appreciate your time. I want to wish you a happy holidays and a happy new year. And I'm sure we'll do another one of these probably soon into 2020.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Happy holidays to you as well. And we will talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Bye-bye.